Mackie and Judd. And boys, I think it's time for us to, I don't have the whole thing in front of me, but I think it's time for us to dust this one off.
I want to mock! I want to mock!
So this first comment on the second half of Feedback Friday comes in from Brandon Talbot. And he says, Bleacher Report just put out their post-trade deadline mock draft. They have the Vikings selecting Anthony Richardson, the starting quarterback at Florida University. My first question is, do you guys think Richardson would be a good pick to develop for a year under Cousins? Second question is, what do you think of Richardson's description? When I read explosive mobility and an arm that could throw through the Earth's core, wow, that is amazing.
Football.
I heard a loud football sounder go off in my head. I almost want the Vikings to take him based on the description alone. So one of my good friends actually went to Florida, and he lives out here, and we have watched a couple Florida games together. And Anthony Richardson played like garbage in both of them. So my opinion is like, oh man, I've seen the guy play a couple times. But Patrick Mahomes had some garbage games. Sometimes it doesn't translate the way that you would think, right? So if he's mobile and has a huge arm and makes good decisions, could he have like Mahomes upside, but he's just not tapping into it fully in college? I don't know enough to say yes or no. But I don't know. I would be careful trading up in the draft unless I was very, very confident that I was getting a Patrick Mahomes type quarterback.
So part of our QB drafting PTSD, which is gone for now, is this. Spielman's gone. The previous staff is gone. And so I will continue to say until he proves that he also cannot do it, I will very much trust that part of O'Connell's forte is identifying quarterbacks. I mean, he played it. He wasn't great, but he certainly knows what he's watching.
Yeah.
He certainly knows what would fit in. Like, this is why you hire an offensive coach, right? Mm-hmm. Because that guy can say, okay, Kirk's good at this and this and this, and I like Kirk, but this guy's the template of what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So until O'Connell whiffs like twice, and you're like, oh, he's got the problem too, that Spielman did, which I don't think that he's going to, I will very much trust that the Vikings have someone in their building now who has a very high-ranking position who can identify quarterback.
Yeah. The idea of Anthony Richardson, like the peak version of Anthony Richardson, is very appealing. Just a guy who's mobile, who's got a big arm, he can keep plays alive, et cetera, et cetera. I just don't know that. I mean, his accuracy, from what I've seen, has been very, very suspect. I don't know that you can teach some of these things. Like, if he's just not accurate, I don't know that he can be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Decision-making, makes bad throws, interceptions and stuff. I don't know.
What's the comp from what you've seen, Phil? Is there
in the 3 games I've watched of him,
a loose comparison?
He's not accurate. I don't know, like a failed starting quarterback who's not accurate. Okay. He sails throws. He makes bad decisions sometimes.
Jake Locker, as far as
Jake Locker.
Jake Locker
with more
problem.
Mobility, I guess.
Yeah, accuracy.
So I'm interested in like how these mock drafts are going to play out right now. But like I said on early in the show, it's so hard to wrap my head around personally the idea of a quarterback in next year's draft right now. I'm just like so immersed in seeing how this year finishes. How this year finishes will give you a gut feeling. If they get smoked on the road and Kirk Cousins plays poorly, okay, like there it is again. It's your glass ceiling again that you've hit multiple times with him in a playoff game, I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But if he's great and it's the defense that lets you down, maybe you're thinking, God, let's draft a defensive tackle next year and load up again. I don't know.
I think the most important thing is this, and this is where the Bradbury pick turned out to be a bad pick. I think drafting for need with a good team is absolutely fine, but you got to be careful on position.
Yes.
So like when you're like, we need a center, you're like, okay, that's cool. Get one in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
But yes, defensive end, cornerback, defensive tackle. If you can get a guy that you think can plug and play, there are certain positions. Center, not one. Running back, probably not one.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Paul in Connecticut. Though we are 6-1, I still feel like Kirk is at or near his ceiling. He is a spaz when blitzed, and he will see a lot of that going forward, especially in the playoffs. Rather than relish the opportunity for a big play, Kirk freaks out under blitz pressure. Not sure that can be fixed at this point. I'm going to actually look up where he's at pressured statistically here. Give me a couple minutes, but does it feel like he is spazzing against blitzes to you? I feel like it's not as bad, but he's certainly not Joe Montana cool back there.
So the ball that he was stripped of on Sunday against the Cardinals was not a great play. Like that's the type of play. Spazzing is, I think, probably too strong, but does he always handle the pressure as competently as you would like to see? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That being said, you know what? Like, we have always faulted Kirk for seeming to struggle under pressure, and with pressure late in games, he's been pretty good. So I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is not he spazzes out. But you know what? That being said, there's one thing. We are not going to know until like a Buffalo game and a playoff game. Like, that's where we're going to get a feel for the actual development when the pressure is on and you're playing potentially a really good team.
It depends on what kind of pressure you're talking about here.
Yep.
I mean, if you're talking about magnitude of the game or the situation, he's actually handled those situations pretty darn well the last couple of years. If you're talking about actual pressure, like teams that are getting defensive players in your face, statistically, he has the 26th ranked passer rating this year when pressured, and he is 20th in yards per attempt when pressured. So he's been largely bad when pressured, like actual defenders in his face pressured.
So I think part of that is this too. And this is, I don't think you can fix this one. It'd be nice to, but I think it's too late. Kirk has a tendency not to be a big fan of doing what the great QBs do, which is throw guys open. Kirk wants to see you, right? Like,
Yeah.
Kirk wants to see you there. Okay, I'll throw it now. Instead of say, you know what? My money is on Justin Jefferson being at this place at this time, even though he's not yet. And I think that the great ones who thrive with actual blitzes and pressure make throws that are perceived to be extremely dangerous, but they're good at it. Kirk Cousins, to me, strikes me as the type of guy who wants to see the jersey, which in this league at times is too late, hence the problem. But I don't know you can fix that one at his stage of his career and his age right now.
Well, here's an interesting one as I'm looking this up. When he's blitzed, okay? So this validates the question here. When he's blitzed, he's 33rd in passer rating.
Yep.
He is dead last by a mile in yards per attempt among all qualified quarterbacks. 39 qualified quarterbacks this year.
Interesting.
He averages 4.4 yards per attempt. At the top of that list, by the way, Bailey Zappi averaging 11 yards per attempt when blitzed.
Zappy
People wonder, like, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo is much better under pressure when blitzed. He's 9 yards per attempt, more than double what Kirk is. And then you get Joe Burrow is up near the top of this list. Tua, Dak, Stafford. Jared Goff is actually 9 yards per attempt, but he's thrown some interceptions when blitzed. So, yeah, I mean, and Kevin O'Connell is not a stranger to these trends and metrics too. You've got to be better when pressured and blitzed, but it's kind of who he is. I mean, he's not mobile. He's not the most improvisational guy, and blitzes throw you off schedule. He's not a great off schedule quarterback.
He doesn't like risks. He
Yeah,
doesn't like them.
Let's see here. Nick B says, I'm a new listener, 20 years in the Air Force, away from Minnesota where I grew up in Brooklyn Park. That's where my dad lived for 15, 20 years. I didn't know you guys existed, and I've really missed talking Vikings with people. I'm a Kirk fan, but I think this is the best Kirk can do. Hear me out. Kirk in the past has gotten a lot of garbage time and attempt to comeback stats when the game is at least 2 scores away. When the defense plays soft but don't give up big plays or some version of prevent, I truly think this is the best we see of Kirk when we don't allow his stat padding end of game stuff. I think he's always missed receivers, always made slightly poor decisions, always been a mediocre to decent quarterback. But without stat padding times of the game, well, this is and always has been the Kirk that we see.
I feel like the accuracy is a little bit more off, but I think for the most part, that's absolutely dead on right. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the last year and a half, he actually put up big numbers last year without a lot of there wasn't a lot of garbage time last year. They played 14 close games or something. So there just in general hasn't been a lot of garbage time at all since 2020 with this team. But we just went through the pressured stats. Then that's the thing. You're not going to prevent teams from blitzing you. You're not going to prevent teams from pressuring you. They're doing a better job this year than they have in years past. At some point, you just got to rise above it and find a hot route or find a one-on-one matchup somewhere and make a play, man. That's the NFL.
Ideal, but I just don't know. And that's the problem with a playoff game, right? Like a playoff game is going to be basically win or go home, and now you're under pressure. And teams are going to empty the bag there. They're going to be like, what does Kirk not do well? Let's blitz him. And that's where I would need to see a significant step. And I know he won the Saints game in 19. Okay, don't tweet me about it. I know about that. But that being said, if they're going to make a playoff run, that's where I have the question of, can you manipulate that from him? And I've got my doubts. I just do. Yeah. It's not going to change till I see different.
A quick shout out here to the folks that have purchased their SKOR North and Purple Daily swag at skornorth.com/shop, or we've got the Just One Before I Die tees and hoodies, Victory Monday tees and hoodies, Purple Daily and SKOR North tees, hoodies, hats, beanies. Check them out. And we also have a State of Hawk shirt and hoodie as well.
With a great flow coming from below the helmet.
Oh, yeah.
State of Hawk. I love the flow.
SKORNorth.com/shop if you want some early stocking stuffers. Appreciate everyone who is supporting us as we build this thing. Nicholas Jacobs says, one man deserves praise, and that man is... Can you guess who that man is? Declan Goff.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
I've been listening to the show for a year and a half now, and Declan has progressively become a better and better contributor to the show. From sharing his hot takes when they actually are hot takes to sharing jokes and making fun of Judd, this man is a favorite of mine. I know it's not easy to step in front of a microphone every day and entertain, but Declan is following in the great purple legacy of Sports Dad and Mackey. Praise is given when it is deserved.
That is awesome.
There is no but. There is no but. It's just a straight compliment from Nicholas Jacobs.
Well, let me give you some advice,
Thank you,
kid.
Nick.
However,
I'll give you some advice.
I feel like usually when really nice notes come in like this, there's always like a but and then a novel afterwards about why they hate one of us or something.
Yes.
Just a straight up unsolicited, very nice compliment there. Yeah.
Very nice, Nick.
What a 24 hours for Declan. He's getting unsolicited compliments from listeners. He's getting engaged. He's beating Judd in Random Viking of the Week. The Purple Daily YouTube channel just hit 30,000 subscribers. Everything's coming up,
Declan. Yeah, everything's coming up, Dex. Love it. Love it.
Robert Wolf says, comparing the Rams to the Vikings, was KOC the Rams' secret sauce? Big difference in records between last year and this year for the Rams.
No, I think the thing is repeating as Super Bowl champion is really damn hard.
Yeah. They also lost offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Andrew Whitworth retired.
So this is why, and I'm not saying that the Vikings are a Super Bowl team, but this is why, as I think we talked about earlier in the week, the Vikings have to pounce now. It's not because they're a perfect team, but look at last year, okay? The Rams had a lot of good fortune. I believe they played a wild card game in Tampa and won there. Yeah. And they didn't win by a lot, okay? So this is why certain years things go your way. Because everybody probably thought Rams coming back Super Bowl champion, they're going to be good again. And what happens? Things don't necessarily go your way. And so this is why 2022, while a pleasant surprise to me personally for the Vikings, becomes so crucially important, because there is no way that you can bottle this year and say, you know what, it's going to be even better in 23. You got no clue. And odds are guys are going to get hurt. Things are going to go wrong. This league is weird. And one thing you have to do is pounce on an opportunity. And the Vikings have that right now.
Yep. Let's see here. Felipe from Brazil. One thing I'd like to know. One thing about me. Do you guys follow that? Do you guys?
I'm all over TikTok.
Oh,
I'm
my
addicted.
God.
I'm addicted to the talk.
The talk.
Every night I lay in bed and watch these, and I don't know why.
Oh, it's so.
But
bad.
I actually thought about trying one of those.
One thing about Sports Dad is that he likes beer. He drinks beer for breakfast then for lunch.
When I was 16. No, you got to do it. You got to go back. It's like, one thing about me is when I was 16, I started drinking with wine coolers and Bartles and James. And then I moved on to beer, and now I have absolutely no fear.
Judd, you have to record this now. You have to do this now.
Yes.
Because I can run.
I
just recorded it now.
to make it to SKOR Social today.
Just clip that.
to do this now.
Clip it. I can do it again. One thing about Afternoon Judd is when he was 18. You got to go back in time. It's massive.
Oh, it's hilarious. Felipe from Brazil. One thing I'd like to know about you guys, and I think it would be fun for you guys to talk about, is your daily routine and how you manage to do this every single day, including weekends. Like, how many hours do each of you guys dedicate daily for the show? For us listeners, we're listening to like 90 minutes of Ventline and then Purple Daily and Mackie and Judd, but for sure it's more work for you guys, maybe even more for Declan since he's the producer. One last thing to add for the listeners. One time I lost the Saturday episode and listened to it after the game, and it was fun to see how much you guys get right or wrong after the game is over, listening back to the Saturday episode. Wow. Like, I think Adam Thielen will be a huge factor in the game, and then he ends up with one catch. So, God, there's a lot to unpack here, but we produce our recording window, and we're all doing like some different. So we do Purple Daily and Mackie and Judd every day, and that's like a 2-hour block for us. And then we also multiple days a week. Well, every day we have little like spin-off shows. Rap with Royce Unchained, Flagrant Howls, Judd's Hockey Show, Bonus Scoop with Doogie, Before We Die, Trenches with Boone, Purple Access. We have like 10 spin-off shows or whatever. So, I mean, in any given day, we're recording 3 to 4 hours of content, and there's like breaks built in and stuff so we can go to the bathroom and, I don't know, drink a glass of water or something. But then for Declan, for instance, one of his main jobs is to take everything we do, not only make sure that it gets posted and edited and whatever, but like make sure that stuff gets clipped for social media so we can be as relevant as possible on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, et cetera, et cetera. Judd is constantly at games and also does writing for Vikings Wire. And then I am doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work, helping to run the business and helping Hubbard Radio 8 other markets with digital content and stuff. So I don't know if that answers your question, Felipe, or if this is just boring process talk. But yeah, we put a lot of time in just prepping the show. I think a lot of people think, oh, you just turn the microphone on, and you get so lucky you guys turn the microphone on. Believe it or not, there is a lot of prep work that goes into just organizing shows on a daily basis. So, yeah. I mean, we're still knuckleheads, but we do prepare for our shows. Yeah.
Yep.
Judd never remembers the time of recording. He says, no, what time are we doing? What's tomorrow?
Well, we
again?
change it sometimes, and like sometimes Phil wants to go at 9 our time, and then I'm like, so you know what? I figure
Phil's better
safe than sorry.
Yeah.
And I forget some stuff, too, because I'm older.
So, I mean, if you guys have other questions, I guess we sometimes just think no one cares. But if you do, send us questions and we can answer stuff. So there's Feedback Friday for you. Very Viking-centric. And now Declan joins the group, joins the club.
Welcome aboard.
I'll get the coverage.
Yeah, we all did. That's not.
Yeah, that's the club.
Not even up for
that's
debate.
The club.
You got that right.
Bunch of Ryan Wrights here, just kicking the ball 73 yards down the field. And we'll see you all, hopefully, as many of you as possible, over at First Round inside Mall of America for a Vikings watch party, a little Purple Daily Surly watch party, and Vikings Vent Line right after the game is over. So thanks for hanging out.